So I'm Bryony and I'm Eliza's mum. Her dad is Garen. And we also have two sons, Dexter, who's 5, and Teddy, who's 11 weeks. When Eliza was born at 29 weeks, so from birth, things were different. When she was about 4 weeks old, they told us that she had brain damage. So we knew from 4 weeks that she had damage, but we didn't know how it would affect her. When she started crawling, she was only using her arms, not really using her legs. And then when she started pulling herself up, she'd pull herself up with her arms, and her legs would sort of follow. Her legs always worked together as a pair rather than individually. But we were really lucky, we had intervention really early. So she was seen in special care by Nikki, starting off for physio.
For Eliza, she didn't look to maybe roll. So if you don't roll, then you're going to lack rotation, and that then will have a bearing on not only your what we regard as your gross motor movement, so you know you're crawling, you're walking, but also your very much your fine motor, so the things that you're going to need in education, like your pen control, your scissor control, you know, being able to hold a piece of paper in one hand and do something else with the other hand, whether that be scissors or whether that means rotating the paper. So those early interventions, the things we take so much for granted, are really important that we put those strategies into place really for later on.
When she was about 7 months, she started having physiotherapy at home, and that's when we noticed stuff like she was not really meeting milestones. She was still like a newborn baby. And then when she was 1, then she was sitting but not really doing much else. And then when she was 18 months, they diagnosed her with cerebral palsy then. Like, obviously before we had Eliza, we had no idea what cerebral palsy was. I hadn't really heard of it. For us, like, we wanted to learn everything so that we could be prepared whatever the outcome. Yeah, it affects Eliza physically. She has something called spastic diplegia, which means it affects her legs mainly.
What's been key with Eliza's transition into the school has been the hard work that's been put in place before we met Eliza and her family, involving Carolyn Waters as the advisor, linking us with that.
With physical medical needs, main worries are accessibility, the environment. Will they cope in the environment? Will there be fatigue for the child? And then also, will they be fully included in school curriculum?
What's worked really well is having a key professional, and having Sally Owen as a physiotechnician, as that key worker, has been really, really important in bringing everyone together prior to her coming to the school and then supporting her within the school environment. The first step was to look at how she would cope with the building. Now, every school would have a plan there for adaptation, all about equality and being able to take every child who comes within the community, but obviously it depends on the building and the practicalities of that.
Well, when we applied her for school, for mainstream, and then obviously it's like waiting to hear if she was accepted, and then the physio team and the speech and language team, they sort of initiated meetings. Sally come to the school with us to look around. We had a meeting where everyone was there just to sort of tell the school about Eliza. The school just sort of took everything on board.
On the accessibility visit, she came with her walking frame, so the head teacher, the nursery teacher, mum and I all watched as she manoeuvred around all the furniture. Decisions were made about which tables needed to be moved.
We all worked together and we had a focus because Sally kept us together. We knew exactly what was needed. We knew what equipment we needed to buy. We knew what courses we needed to send people on. We knew exactly what Eliza needed from us to ensure that she could have an inclusive place in our nursery unit.
It's very much teamwork. I rely a great deal on my colleagues in health. So physiotherapy, they put in the programme and they provide the staff training. The occupational therapists are responsible for deciding if any seating equipment is required or any equipment required for toileting, and also if an eating plan is required. And I can then work with the parents and the staff to implement that advice.
So she had a few settling sessions before she started, just to ease her in, and I watched those because obviously it's a big worry when they have additional needs if they're going to fit in or if they're going to be included. But the children The other children have just accepted her as well, which is really nice. Baby Bath is it's a charity, specialises in children with cerebral palsy. They sort of make a little plan individual to the child. They have sensory input, the physical side, sensory side. They can do speech if there's a problem with that.
When they went to Baby Bath in Cardiff, the family, for support, we sent one of our LSAs to accompany them who had the training. So there's so much expertise out there, and the school really is the magnet to draw all those together.
Every day when they pick her up, they'll tell us a little bit about what she's doing in the day. And then we have meetings then every term. We normally have her occupational therapist, Sally the physio, the class teachers and the head, health visitor, community nurse, speech and language.
We host these meetings often where every agency involved with Eliza will meet at our school now, and I'm present at those meetings, and the LSAs are present at the meetings, and we all have a voice and an opinion. And obviously paramount to this is the fact that Eliza has the opportunity to achieve her potential, so that's what drives it.
There are challenges, like sometimes because her balance is obviously not as good as the other children, so she's knocked over easily and she tires quite quickly as well. So we found that a challenge. Sometimes she'll be sleepy in class and the school will ring us then, we'll just go get her and bring her home and she can have a nap.
I think we have to be very fluid in our approach because children are unique and sometimes you just can't plan for everything. So when we do come against an obstacle, we have to be very creative sometimes and making sure that she's safe and well and achieving the best potential possible.
Working with her has been an absolute delight. The family, I think, have very much engaged with us from the time of diagnosis, and also seeing the difficulties that Eliza had and taking on board the strategies and the management that we gave them.
We're so grateful for them to be a part of Eliza's life, and I feel like they've been not just a support to Eliza but a huge support to us as a family. I know me and Garen find a lot of comfort in them, especially Sally. Any worries we have, emotionally for us, I feel they're a great support.
She's got every right to be part of mainstream education, to have every opportunity to be successful. She's bright and she's clever. She may have a physical disability, but that shouldn't have to affect the opportunity she has to be successful in life in the future.
Listen to me. I might have something important to say. Listen to me. I might have something important to say. I know what my thoughts are. I know what I dream of. I can see the future. Look into my eyes. I know what my thoughts are. I know what I dream of. I can see the future. Look into my eyes. Listen to me. I might have something important to say. Listen to me. I might have something important to say. Listen to me. Listen to me.